Hey, everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today we're going to be talking about community servers for the console edition of Rust. The reason we're talking about this for another video is because community servers attract bugs like playgrounds attract pedos, and D11 in their infinite wisdom has decided to spread those bugs across two companies. So when it comes to community servers, you got the people hosting community servers, that would be gPortal, and the people running the console edition of Rust, that would be D11. You've also got Facepunch, they're the people who created Rust and then handed it off to D11, which people say is their biggest mistake yet. But no, really, D11 hasn't done that bad, but basically, yeah, you've got gPortal running community servers, hosting community servers, and then you've got D11 who's actually servicing Rust. They're the ones releasing updates and everything like that. So it seems like there's issues on both sides, and we're going to go over the fixes and what's been done as far as these go so that you can determine if you want to actually host a community server yet or if you want to wait. My recommendation just right off the bat would be to wait, and I'm going to explain why later. But basically, here's what's going on. So gPortal has fixed a lot of the issues. The lion's share of the issues are now gone. You can go to gPortal, you can buy a community server, you can set up that server, you launch it, and you should be able to get access to that server if you get around the whole bug that D11 created where you can't actually search for servers. That's easy. I talked about it in my last video. So anyways, let's say you can search for your server, you join that server, and it seems like everything sort of works. And for those of you screaming at your computer right now saying, no, Serial, you're wrong, well, this is as of Monday. gPortal recently just made an announcement that said they fixed a lot of the issues, or at least they fixed the major issue that was affecting community servers and affecting their servers' downtime, lag, and all of that. So it seems like things are a lot better from the gPortal side of things. I think, honestly, in a couple more days, they're going to have everything running smoothly, and we're going to be good. Now, some people are going to say that's because community servers have lost their luster and people have bounced, and they might not actually be wrong. It might just be a thing. It might just be someone over at gPortal sitting on their computer doing absolutely nothing and taking credit for it because people are leaving and the servers are just running smoother because there's less people. Who knows? We're never going to know the answer to that. If you are doing that, hats off to you. You've got an easier job than me. Anyways, now let's move on to D11. So D11 for the weekend decided to just take it easy. They took it off because they have a rough one. You guys were really pinging them with some issues and bugging them on Friday. It's annoying. They decided to take the weekend off, going to Bender or something. No, I actually don't know, but it seems like D11 didn't work through the weekend. A lot of this, it seems like, is because they felt like the issues weren't on their side, but it seems like there are some issues on the D11 side, at least talking to other server owners and people who just have experience with this sort of thing. It seems like there's certain settings, and nobody knows exactly what they are, that can cause your server to force wipe on a save, or it can just cause your server to randomly crash, and then when it restarts, all data is lost for a period of time. Sometimes it's just the whole wipe's lost and everybody's starting from scratch. So yeah, if you know anything about Rust, that's not an optimal experience. And yes, that's an extreme understatement, sort of like saying, the Nazis weren't that great for the reputation of Germany. But yeah, it just is not a good thing. Also, at this point, I'd like to take an aside. I made a joke earlier about Germany and World War II and everything like that, and someone took offense to it. And I'm just going to say this. If you're in 2023 siding with the Nazi party in World War II, fuck you. Anyways, let's move on now that I've made that extremely controversial statement. But no, basically, what's going on is it seems like D11 hasn't really done too much as far as bug fixes go. I think we're going to see some fixes coming out this week, and it's unknown if it's just one of those things like they knew what they needed to fix, they had the bug fixes ready, and they didn't want to release a weekend update because honestly, if multiple teams are working on fixing bugs, you can get into the situation where you release a patch and another team releases a patch and you break more things and nobody knows who did it, and you just keep going farther and farther into this hole that you're creating. So maybe this was a strategic decision, or maybe the dude responsible for pushing out the updates just wanted to go on a bender. Who knows, really? Honestly, if you're an employee over at D11, you should be entitled to your weekends. Just because a company messed up community servers, or just because a company messed up an update, it doesn't mean that the engineer should have to or be required to work extra. So I do actually, as an engineer, I do appreciate the fact that D11 isn't making their engineers work overtime. As a player, I hate it. And, yeah, that's where I stand on that. I'm not really taking a side because I can see it from both sides. And look, the people should get the weekends, but we should also get our fixes. If there's some way that they could just pay them extra, which is, that's sort of capitalism, that's how that sort of works, and then get them to do weekend work, that would be amazing. And, Christmas is coming up. Maybe some people like a little Christmas bonus, a little bit of extra money to spend on gifts. Hey, if you're working over there at D11, send this video to your boss. Let them know Serial Overdrive made a joke about pedophiles. No, actually, don't send this video to your boss. Don't do it. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, D11 hasn't really done much as far as updates go, but I think we can expect some updates to come out over the week. My guess, though, would be if you do get your server running, you want to really look into everything that you change before you change it, because it seems like one bad change can cause a wipe, and if there's a wipe, all the information, everything's just lost, and basically your players are going to be starting from scratch. And as a Rust player, that's probably one of the worst things that you could do to someone, right? Like, making everybody start from the beginning of wipe again is one of the worst things you could do to a server. It's one of the easiest ways to kill a server, forced wipe that just randomly occurs. So here's where I stand, right? Like, because I was thinking about, so I wanted to do, like, I saw the settings, I've seen everything that you can do with these servers. We're going to be going over that in another video, don't worry, but I saw that. It's actually really good. Like, D11 has given us a lot of options. Hats off to them. I love the fact that I can just make a million boars and make everybody hate me, but like there's a lot of cool options there. There's a lot of cool things you can do with that, and I like that. But at the same time, I think playing with those options and causing a forced wipe, that will be one of the easiest ways to just completely decimate your server, because you can take players who really love the server, do a forced wipe on accident, they lose all their gear, and now what do? Do you just log on and give everybody what they ask for? Do you just say everybody's starting over again? It puts you in a hard spot, and it puts them in a hard spot, and a lot of people are not going to forgive you for that, especially the weekend warriors, right? Like, if you only have a weekend to grind your way up, and then over the week you're just playing for an hour or two here and there, you do not want to get force wiped on Sunday night. That is the worst thing that can happen, because basically it ruins your whole week as far as gaming goes. So the reason I don't want to start a community server yet is because I just don't have the confidence in D11. I mean, I never have the confidence in D11. Let's be honest. It's like giving a preschooler the codes to nuclear arsenals. It's never going to end well, and most likely the preschool is going to be nuked because they think that's going to give them a day off on Monday. Preschoolers are dumb. Let's face it. That shouldn't be controversial, but I'm sure someone's going to take offense to that. I make all these jokes. I honestly thought the burger joke in the last video was going to be what did people in, but no. People are complaining about me talking about Jesus and picking sides in World War II. I picked the U.S., folks. I picked the right side. And yes, if you're still arguing that there is a right side, again, refer back to the earlier comment about Nazis going and fucking themselves. Still stand by that, by the way. But no, like, it's just like, I don't want to start up a server and then have it force wipe. And then, like, everybody just gets mad at me. Everybody wants everything to be given back to them. And it just creates this horrible situation. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create, like, a Serial Overdrive PvP server that people can play around in. I'm not going to be doing any bans. I'm not going to be doing anything crazy with it. There's going to be no teams, nothing like that. Anyone can jump in and it'll be complete chaos. It's just a PvP server. It's not anything special. You shouldn't be going on and building bases. I'm just gonna put wipes every night on there just so people can expect that. And then if it doesn't wipe, it's a nice little surprise or something like that. But like, basically, what I don't want to do is get people in there thinking that they're gonna be doing a full wipe and then have some sort of accident occur and everything just gets wiped. And honestly, even if that happens across everybody's server, there's a lot of people who are gonna blame the server owner that they're dealing with, because that's just how it works. Like, one of my friends used to work in tech support, and one of the things he hated, this was way back in the day, but anytime Facebook would update their website, he'd get these complete imbeciles calling him and asking him to change it back. And he's like, well, I don't work at Facebook. And they're like, yeah, but you do the internet. And it's like, yeah, I do the internet, but that doesn't mean I can fix everything with the internet. And they're like, no, fix it. It's like some people are just complete imbeciles, and probably 50% of the people listening to this are imbeciles, and most of you are thinking, well, he's not talking about me, but maybe I am. Maybe I am talking about you. Let's be honest. Like, 50% of you, that's a pretty big number. And if you're thinking about it and you can't really visualize that number, you're thinking about 50%, and your brain's working overtime, you feel a little headache coming on, you're part of the 50%, let's be honest. And now that I've just insulted 50% of you, I gotta say, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to support the channel and keep getting insulted, it helps. And if you feel like you're not part of that 50%, hit the subscribe button, because you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, now that I've completely alienated myself, let's get back into this. But basically, yeah, what I'm saying with the servers is I don't have anything against anyone that's hosting a server. They're undertaking something that is very difficult. I just don't want to undertake something difficult right now, because, you know, I got Christmas coming up. I got family. I'm hosting Christmas. I'm traveling for it. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm putting gifts together. The last thing I want to do is deal with a bunch of we can't say the word anymore, but you know what I'm talking about, idiots who are gonna get mad no matter what. Like, honestly, even if I tell people they can't say the N word, people get mad at me because freedom of speech. And half the time, these people aren't even American. They're like English or French, and it's like, motherfucker, you don't even have freedom of speech. So what are you talking about? It's a U.S. server, but that doesn't give you the U.S. Constitution. That only applies to people in the U.S. That's how it works. That's also why private citizens, or whatever they want to call themselves, can't just create an ocean-bound vessel and drive on the maritime highway. I guess that's what they refer to it as. Have you ever heard of those? There are some really stupid people out there, and they make a lot of good YouTube videos, let's be honest. I wonder if I'm looking in a mirror. Anyways, my videos aren't good, let's be honest. But, like, no, like, it's just, like, I don't know. I just don't want to deal with it. Honestly, I think as far as D11 goes, they should have pushed this back to January, because the truth of the matter is, right now it's a bit of a cash grab. Let's be 100%. Let's be 100% with this. This is probably a cash grab. They're releasing community servers extremely cheap, and their hope is that a bunch of people are going to buy them, forget about them, and just keep them on that reoccurring monthly payment cycle. It's $20, so people won't notice. They're underserving the hardware, but the hope is that you're not going to get 100 people joining every single server, so you can underserve it as long as you keep servers divided between hosts correctly. So this would be physical hosts, not virtual hosts. But basically, you could put 1 million servers hosting 0 people on one machine, and it would be completely fine. But if 5 of those servers got 100 people all at once, you'd be in trouble. And I think that's what's going on right now. I think what they're hoping is they're just going to spin up a bunch of cheap servers. People are going to leave them running. They're going to have 100 slots, but they're only going to use one. And basically, they're hosting a private server for $20 a month, making a ton of money. And I think, honestly, if they don't, they're probably not going to upgrade their hosting gear to the point where they'd be losing money. So they're probably just going to keep this running. And honestly, like, there's a lot of people who are going to forget about that $20 charge because it's low enough, I think, that people are going to miss it. Like, $19, you sort of miss that. Like, that could be your meal out, right? Like, I don't know how much people are spending when they go out. I know I'm spending way too much, but, like, let's be honest, sometimes they go out and get, like, one cocktail and it costs more than that. It's like $19 shows up on my credit card. I don't know if I was just wasted off my ass and decided to order another drink, or it's D11 deciding to bill me because they figure they can. But, like, if people set up these monthly reoccurring payment cycles, they may completely forget about it and just be getting that money. If it's $60, $70, a lot of people, that's going to tick some boxes. That's going to show up. They're going to say, hey, this is a piece of my budget. But 19, you don't notice that. So I feel like there's a bit of a cash grab going in there with the price. I feel like they're trying to optimize the hardware a little bit too much. And I feel like that's part of the issue. And I feel like releasing it in December, that's like, they're not doing it so that the responsible hosts are able to get it and spend the right amount of time with the server. They're doing it so the most amount of people can buy the servers, which from a financial standpoint is a completely fine decision to make. But a cash grab is a completely sound financial decision to make. It's just still a cash grab. Like, that's what it is. You're trying to get as much money as possible, and that's how capitalism works, honestly. Like, D11's a British company, and from what I've heard, they're not communist over there, but they still have a queen, they have a monarchy, they have kings. You know, like, if the king goes out and asks to get his D sucked, I think you've got to do it as a servant of the Commonwealth, right? Like, that's one of the things in their little constitution. That's why their money is monopoly colored. I don't know what any of this has to do with anything, but trust me, bro. No, like, I don't know. It's just like, it is what it is, and you've got to call it what you call it. I'm not saying in the most negative of ways. I want people to understand that. I understand how companies work, and companies need to make money, and in a sense, they need to do cash grabs like this, because if they didn't, it's just like, what are they going to do? Like, how are they going to make money? Like, if there's an option between us getting really bad community servers and the console edition Rust continuing for another 5 years, and us getting perfect community servers and the console edition Rust ending in 6 months, I'd honestly take the first one. Shitty community servers, but the game lasts 5 years, because community servers are at some point going to be fixed. And hey, a lot of the people that are spending that $19, like, they're still here. They're still going to be playing. They're just not going to be playing on their server. They're going to forget about the payment, and it's just going to keep going for a couple months, and D11's going to make a little bit of extra cash. It doesn't seem right. Like, honestly, it's probably not correct, but it is what it is. That's how the world works right now. If we want to fight against that, I think we've got bigger people to take on than D11. Let's be honest. And, like, D11's just responding to market demands. Because that's one of the things I think, like, when you're too young, you don't understand it. But there's like a whole market demands thing. There's an investor demands thing. And if other gaming companies are doing something, if other companies are doing something, even if you don't want to do it, you almost have to do it to keep investor funds with you. And not everybody has the luxury of being able to self-fund. That's something that very few companies can do. And it's just because it's so expensive. Like, think about buying a house. Like, how many people can self-fund buying a house versus how many people have to go to a bank? If you've got to go to a bank, that's basically the situation that Deal11 and a lot of these companies are in. And that's why a lot of these cash grabs happen, because that's what investors want. And investors are people like you and me. That's the crazy thing, right? Like, it's people like you and me screwing over people like you and me. It just comes around and goes around. But it's basically like, if you buy stock, you want to keep making money. If you invest in a company, you want to keep making money. You don't want to see losses. And because of that, that puts a lot of pressure on companies to do cash grabs. Anyways, I'm not an economist, so I don't know why I'm talking about this, but thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully I didn't lower your IQ a little bit too much, but if I did, at least you'll be happier. Until next time, peace.